Time now for your forewarned weather.
I'm sure that plunge felt really nice. It was a really warm day, a lot of wind going on across the state, and a lot of fire activity. I'm going to step out of the way. I want to show you this time lapse from Bryce Canyon just outside of Ruby's Inn. You're going to see smoke coming in from the France Canyon fire not too far south of there. Look at that smoke just really billowing in, very dark, continuing to fill the skies. And even now, they're looking at a lot of smoke. Look at how dark that smoke is. That is almost apocalyptic looking. We even had a little bit of smoke up here in the north. If you went outside, you may have noticed a little bit of haze. This is coming out of Payson. You see on the horizon, you can see the smoke and the hazy skies thanks to the smoke up here. Not as bad as they had it down south, though. We do have a red flag warning in effect. We were in a red flag warning up here in the north, but that's since expired. Still holding on for central and southern Utah, as well as most of eastern Utah until 10 p.m. tomorrow. We're looking at gusts of up to 40 miles an hour and even higher in some places, and humidity in the single digits. So let's talk about that smoke. We have the three main fires down here in southern Utah that are responsible for the smoke, and it's going to continue to ride on this southwesterly flow up into the eastern portion of the state. Northeast corner also getting in on the smoke action. And then it dies down a little bit overnight, but as we get into tomorrow, it flares right back up. We start to see that smoke coming in from Arizona, and I suspect that these three fires are really going to act up and put a lot of smoke into the air as well. We'll see some smoke up here in the north also tomorrow. Time lapse coming out of our Black Desert Resort. You can see the smoke right there. That's the Forsyth fire in Washington County in the higher elevations, and it's blowing the smoke away from St. George, but they're still getting a little bit of haze. Look at these wind speeds, 61 miles an hour in Logan. Winds really picked up there recently. It's coming from the north, cooling things off a little bit. We had a lot of 30s and 40s, 51 miles an hour in Milford, and then where you see the fires, we're looking at gusts in the 30s and 40s, even a couple of 50s near that fire down there in Washington County. Wind alerts are in effect. We have wind advisories for parts of central and southern Utah, the eastern Uinta Basin, and parts of the West Desert. We're looking at winds of up to 35 miles an hour and gusts as high as 50 miles an hour. A lot of blowing dust with this as well, so we have the dust and the smoke. Makes for very bad air quality. You want to limit your time outside. Temperatures right now are in the 80s in northern Utah, some 70s down there in the south, 65 degrees there in Logan. I just mentioned they had the shift in the wind coming from the north, and the temperatures are cooling quick. They're going to cool here as well in northern Utah as we get into tomorrow. But today, we broke records, actually. 95 degrees beat the record by 2 degrees in City Creek water plant. And then we got some tied records in Mountain Dell Dam and Spanish Fork, where they hit triple digits today. It's the first day of summer, and it's definitely feeling like it, but it's going to get much cooler. Lows tonight, 43 degrees in Logan. We have 50s for northern Utah, 60s in the south, thanks to that shift in the wind. That cold front's going to be moving through, 72 degrees in St. George, and we even have a few 30s, 37 in Evanston, 39 degrees in Elko, and it's getting colder. Freeze warning in effect for the first full day of summer. That's a little bit of a surprise, isn't it? A little ironic. Temperatures as low as 27 degrees in some of these places. Elko and Ely getting into the 30s. So make sure that you do what you can to protect your sensitive vegetation. And that's all thanks to this air mass coming in from the north, bringing in that cooler Canadian air. But as we get into next week, things start to warm up real quickly. There's that freeze warning again. Whoops. I had it upside down. I'm going backwards. Let's talk about the future now. So as for tomorrow, temperatures are going to be cooler than they were today by about 5 degrees in the south, 10 degrees in the north. We have 70s in northern Utah, 80s in southern Utah, as well as a couple 90s for the eastern portions of the state and the warm spots down south. 96 degrees for St. George, cooling down to 90 degrees on your Sunday. It'll be windy this weekend, and eventually we start to warm back up into the triple digits by Thursday, maybe even Wednesday. The Wasatch Front, looking at mostly sunny skies tomorrow, dropping all the way to 69 degrees on Sunday, but it warms up quickly all the way to the 90s by your Thursday and possibly on Wednesday. All right, we're going to be back with more news right after this.